Good afternoon and welcome to Tech Talk. This should be a pretty interesting show. This one is about securing yourself. Everybody pretty much now has a digital life, which means that you're on the internet with some sort of device or computer, and these things are, spreading. Even my digital SLR camera is now Wi-Fi capable, so I can take a picture with my camera with my phone, and everything is getting connected. Your refrigerator and everything else. So this is a show about how to stay safe and keep your information to yourself. Today we have Ryan Lippe from the State Attorney General's office in Ohio to help us with this, and also with me is Kingsley Meyer, Director of Campus Computing.
Good afternoon. I think it's a very pertinent topic to be discussing, because it seems like every day in the news we hear of certain intrusions where companies have lost data, our government's lost data. I think many people that have had a credit card have maybe been contacted by the fraud division of their credit card company, notifying them that something went wrong. And with all of these devices that we have, whether it be the phones, the laptops, I don't know how to secure my car yet, but there's just so many things, and I think it's overwhelming. We're fortunate to have our guest here today to help us navigate how the State Attorney General's office can assist us with some of that, and especially their educational outreach opportunities. I believe they're willing to go out and tackle this tough public information challenge.
And besides just having people attacking you and trying to drag information out of you, there's also the social media aspect of Twitter and Facebook and everything else, where you are willingly giving up information, whether you're telling somebody you're going on vacation, or you have your location services on, or you're uploading pictures with geotags and stuff like that. So there's a whole lot of things we can talk about.
I think it's a lot of fun when you look at your phone and it's telling you that a big storm cloud's coming your way, because it has already had your location services. But when somebody goes out and takes a picture when they're on vacation, and it sends a message to their friends that there's nobody home at the house and it's okay to clean out the gun closet or whatever else you have for your valuables.
And that happens.
It happens all the time. Our guest is Ryan Lippe from the State Attorney General's office, and he spoke a little bit earlier today on Business Talk, looking at what happens when you have your identity stolen, and some of the steps that they can help in working with the consumer sector, not necessarily the business sector. And today we're looking at in Tech Talk a little bit about what we can do to protect ourselves, hopefully avoiding that next step. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
What exactly is the charge of your division within the State Attorney General's office?
Well, the Consumer Protection Section plays a more vital role now than I think ever before, because we're starting to delve into things like cybersecurity. Definitely we deal with a lot of complaints about merchants. We try to use our informal dispute resolution service to help Ohioans that way. If they have a problem with a merchant they simply can't work out, we can help try to have them address that problem. We also do a lot in terms of educating people about scams, and we've begun to do a lot of education on cybersecurity through the CHIP program. And CHIP stands for Cybersecurity Help, Information, and Protection Program. And under the umbrella of CHIP is really going out to communities and talking to them about how to stay safe in cyberspace, getting libraries information to empower consumers to put cybersecurity on their front burner, going out and writing articles for our newsletter and doing other vehicles to make sure people are staying safe when they're online.
So that's very important, I think, that you're doing that. It's sort of staying a step ahead, so you're not cleaning up messes, but you're preventing the messes before they even start.
We try, but if you're like anyone else, it's difficult. You tell people that they ought to create a complex, unique password for every account they have, and they look at you like you've asked them to recite an entire book by memory. It's very cumbersome for some people to tackle cybersecurity efforts. So we try to introduce them to core concepts, and we try to give them some practical tips, and then enough information to go back to their internet service provider and ask some questions. Go to their device manufacturer, ask some questions. Call up the manufacturer of their computer, research and answer some of the questions they need to figure out how device settings and programs work on their actual unit. Because we're never going to be able to be a help center for everyone's computer needs. But what we can do is give people some broad areas that they really need to focus in on, like a firewall, like encryption, like things that you should have as a basis for starting out with a home wireless network.
Gosh, wireless just by itself is such a broad topic. We have everything from our home wireless network to what happens on our cellular network. We hope our cell carriers are giving us a secure connection. And then on campuses like our Rio Grande, we offer a Rio secure connection and a public connection. But what are people supposed to do when they go to a public spot and see a public hotspot?
Right.
Do they trust it?
Well, that's a challenge.
Is that like restaurants and public parks and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could have a Wi-Fi spot at a bookstore, at a library, at a coffee shop, at the airport. And that's all well and good, and there's no problem checking sports scores or trying to figure out the latest news. But when you start logging in and start using passwords and credit card numbers and social security numbers, those are things that are best left to the privacy of a home secure network and not to be used in public Wi-Fi. And the reason why we say that is you should pretend like someone's looking over your shoulder at all times with that public Wi-Fi network, because they very well may be. There could be even a phony Wi-Fi network set up alongside a legitimate network with a name like free Wi-Fi or free coffee shop Wi-Fi. So it's important to even go up to the clerk or the manager of an establishment, ask what the official name is of the legitimate Wi-Fi network before connecting, and turning off any settings on your smartphone or tablet that may automatically connect to Wi-Fi in case there may be an illegitimate network out there set up simply to coax people into providing personal confidential information.
A lot of the times I've found that they're slower than the actual just using your phone connection. So most of the times I don't use them.
Yeah, I would say I would be much more certain about my cell phone being a secure connection than the Wi-Fi option on my cell phone, because then I'm reliant on whoever's hosting that network that they've done their job. If I set up a network at home, I know whether there's a firewall, I know whether there's encryption, I know whether there's antivirus. There's a lot of don't knows when it comes to someone's public Wi-Fi network. So we want to make sure people get in the habit of not disclosing passwords, not putting in banking information whenever there's one of those free public Wi-Fi spots.
Does your office or any other departments in the state of Ohio have any type of enforcement or oversight responsibility on public wireless or the internet in general?
I would say when it comes to internet, I can't give really any legal advice, but it's not really a matter of tackling the criminal and civil parts of the law. It's really a matter of education. Our office at the Ohio Attorney General, we get involved in multi-state litigation every year involving data breaches. And we do a lot of work to try to protect Ohioans when and if they are subject to being victim of a data breach. You can just, there's a litany of companies and government agencies that have had data breaches. Doesn't necessarily mean somebody's going to be a victim of identity theft, but it does mean that you should take some common sense precautions to prevent information from getting into the wrong hands. And so it's really important to us to represent Ohioans at the legal level when it comes to a lot of those multi-state data breach, identity theft type of cases, but also to give people a practical aspect of tips that they can use at their home so that hopefully they don't end up a victim further down the road.
Do you feel that many consumers, homeowners, are technically prepared to understand, some of those challenges?
I think there's a learning curve for everybody. And we talk oftentimes to middle school or high school students that may be miles ahead of their parents in terms of security and privacy. And we also deal with a lot of folks that simply have that on the back burner, don't have it in front of their mind. And there are, hopefully everybody out there is at least willing to learn how to do it right, willing to learn how important it is to take some necessary steps before you start putting out information onto the web. So we've noticed as we've given presentations on cybersecurity that people do want to do the right thing. They want to keep their information private, but the big question is, are they willing to choose a complex, unique password? Are they willing to have an antivirus program that's continually updating itself? Are they willing to do the due diligence that it really takes so that you don't fall into one of these traps and become a victim of a cybercrime?
How many passwords should you have? I mean,
You
should
should
you
have-
have a unique one for everything that you do?
I would recommend you have a unique one for everyone and to change it every so often and to make it complicated, make it complex. Obviously,
That's hard for me to
Yeah,
remember. If
yeah.
I've got 50 places to log into, then
Right, and that's where you can research password managers. That's where you can keep passwords in a very secure environment, like where you would keep your social security card or your passport. But make complex passwords unusual. And don't make them your pet's name. Don't make them your birth date. Don't make them the street you grew up on. That's all public information for the most part, or at least information people may be able to find out about you on a social network or through hacking into one of your accounts. Make those passwords hard to guess. We advise consumers to make sure they're at least 8 characters long. The longer the better. Have a good mix of uppercase and lowercase letters. Throw in some random numbers and weave in some special characters like an ampersand or an asterisk or a question mark. Those can really throw off some of those products that are meant to help scammers try to get passwords guessed for a lot of people that may be vulnerable.
yeah. And lock down your home network. Don't just leave in, I don't know if it's 4 zeros that it usually comes with, or, and I usually change the name of it too. I don't know if that's great, that you might set yourself apart from the other people.
Yeah, and we've noticed since we're in an environment now where people carry computers around with them, meaning not just a laptop, but we're talking about tablets, smartphones, all are overpowering what we used to think of as computers 10 or 20 years ago. Our phones, the things that we can fit in our coat pocket, are much more powerful than computers were a decade or two ago. Yet we don't always treat them as securely as we would a home computer. So, we want people to use the locking feature on their smartphone and their tablet. So if they step away or it's stolen, that somebody cannot just come up from right behind them and get access to all their accounts and all of their information. So it's very important that we treat these resources like what they really are, computers in our pockets.
Because like what I was saying about the securing your home network, you've got cameras in your house, maybe your thermostat, your computer's networked to it, everything else is networked to it, your TV, and hard to tell what else they're going to network.
The Internet of Things is a term that's used when now everything in our lives are connected back through a network, and your wireless connection is the gateway for everything within your home.
So number one, set up your router.
Set
the right
that up
way.
securely. Don't keep any defaults. So when it comes out of the box, take that book, write down what you're using, put the book in a safe place. don't necessarily keep your passcodes for your guest network with a refrigerator magnet on the front of the refrigerator for your guests to come in.
Right.
Now, there's a lot
And
of
remember
tips and
where you
tricks.
put all that, because I don't know how many times I think me and you have run into people. It's like, okay, what's your password? I don't know. It's like, really?
I hope my father-in-law is watching this show today, but I'll tell a story about him. And he has a little notebook. It's a spiral-bound notebook, and he keeps all of his passcodes in there. And I can't remember necessarily his wireless passcode, and so when we visit, I sometimes have to go and look it up. But in the wrong environment with people that you don't trust, leaving your passwords and everything sitting out under the keyboard in the top desk drawer.
Yeah.
That's the perfect place to be.
That is a perfect.
It's like giving
place.
somebody a stack of $100 bills and your Social Security card when you're walking down the street.
that hurts.
So just be safe even when you're at home, and put things in safe places. And don't bring too many things around town with you. I can't imagine how many people take their Medicare card, take their Social Security card, take every one of their credit cards when they're not going to use any of them that day. So we really warn people to lighten their load, lighten their pocketbook, lighten their wallet and purse by only taking what they absolutely need for that day. So if something does get lost or stolen, that they're not sacrificing a lot of personal information. And I think the same kind of analogy can be that can hold true with the necessity to create complex, unique passwords. Just like you wouldn't allow somebody access to your wallet, you shouldn't be allowing someone access to your laptop, your smartphone, or your tablet.
We hear an awful lot about software vulnerabilities, and we know, at least in supporting a campus environment, that every time somebody tries to do something, a pop-up occurs and says, this needs to be updated. And when we try to tell everybody, the best thing you can do is update. Update your antivirus program, update the operating system, update your applications. Keep absolutely everything as up to date as you can, because the only way that these software companies can protect their vulnerabilities is when they learn about those exploits and then to correct the code that provided them an opportunity.
Absolutely, and also your internet browser. You want to make sure that any security patches are put onto your computer or your other devices right away. So you really want to set those types of systems up to automatically update, or at least constantly be checking to make sure that you have the latest security patches, the latest updates for all of those things, from the operating system to the antivirus to the internet browser and beyond. Any of these programs you use, make sure they're the most up-to-date, because you never know when they may be coming out with some type of fix or some type of patch to a yet another vulnerability to this that a scammer's been able to get to.
I'd also add, with the password things, your browsers and things can remember the passwords and remember your credit card numbers and all that. Most of the computers now have a way to make different logins for the same computer. So
Yeah.
your teenager, your kid doesn't get on to your login, goes to a site to buy something, and hey, you want to remember, you use that card? Sure.
Yeah, and it's really important also to not have every program remember your login and password, because if you misplace the device, then someone will really appreciate the fact that you've told it to remember the password, because they're going to easily be able to get access into your information. So as difficult as it can be, try to log in with those types of passwords every time you start a session, and then always proactively log out. Just don't X out the window or shut down your computer. Log off of the sites you've logged into first, and then go through the rest of the safe shutdown procedure.
I would imagine in many homes, some of the younger members of the household are on the computer more than anyone else. Does the State Attorney's General Office have any recommendations for parents and for teachers on guiding the youth in more safe behavior?
We actually have. I mentioned the CHIPS program on cybersecurity. We have a teen version and we have an adult version. And the major difference is the adult version includes some helpful tips regarding servers and wireless networks in the home. And the teen version is more concentrated on, first of all, short attention spans, as well as the end user, really making sure that even if the parents have set up the network appropriately, that the user, the child, is being safe in cyberspace. It really is, again, a matter of educating them, because these are the same young folks that are going to turn 18 or 21 soon and get their first credit card and get their access to the internet paid for out of their own pocket. So we really need to educate at all levels. So there are seniors that are just starting to learn a computer. There's younger folks that are just starting to learn a computer. Then we've got everybody in between. I think we take the approach at the Ohio Attorney General that no one is too young or too old to learn some of these valuable cyber safety techniques and really learn to be safe, even if you don't actively shop online yet. It's still important to learn so that when you have to shop online or when you get a new credit card, you're one up on everybody else at your age. You already know how to be careful and take precautions online, or at least you know the core concepts.
Okay, what would you say about surfing around and email? My personal advice is if I didn't ask for it, I don't click on it. You know, if I get an email, I don't know who it is, it's not a company that I've asked for, I'm not clicking on it.
Absolutely. We really try to forewarn Ohioans, do not click on any suspicious links. Do not open up any attachments that seem suspicious. Even if they're from somebody you know, someone may have hacked in to that account, whether it be a social network or an email account. Those can easily be hacked into. So remember, just because you have a complicated password doesn't mean everyone does. And it's really important that you stay safe in cyberspace by remembering to, I'm sorry, what was your?
Well, if I didn't ask
the
for
question.
it, well,
Yeah, so you don't want to click on any links that are unfamiliar or open up any attachments. And pop-up windows can sometimes deceive people as well. There's a lot of pop-up ads that claim to be your computer warning you that you have an antivirus. Only X out of those types of pop-up windows.
well, there's other things that I run into, whether it be eBay, PayPal, Craigslist. Maybe, it looks like an email from eBay, and it says, that something about your account. You need to put in your information again, or you owe money. I don't click on that, but I will go to eBay, log in, and check my account.
Yeah, and I think that's a great approach. It's similar as if you got on the phone, if you got a phone call and somebody claimed to be your bank. Well, a good measure would be hang up the phone and call the bank at the number that you know and trust from your account statement, from their official website, from the back of your credit card. Don't get duped into believing some type of phishing, and I mean phishing with a PH,
right.
Some type of phishing exhibition is legitimate. We get so many cases where bank emails come to people and a few people are bound to be their customers, but millions of emails have gone out stealing their logos and their graphics and their disclosure statements, trying to get people's personal information.
Yeah, the emails look pretty convincing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could just be a weekend project of a scam artist to recreate one of the Fortune 500 banks overnight. And they could dupe a lot of people, unsuspecting consumers, into divulging personal information. Whenever you see an email that purports to want personal information, just go ahead and call up that entity or go to their legitimate website or call their legitimate contact center, not using the phone number and the email and the web on the email, but using your own research and your own due diligence to make sure you're dealing with the actual legitimate entity and not some scam artist.
Right. And beware when you go to like Craigslist and you, not necessarily buying, but even when you're putting stuff on Craigslist, there'll be all kinds of people calling you with services or pressuring you to do things or deposit money into this account or whatever.
Yeah, a lot of the online marketplaces are a treasure trove for some of these scam artists. So we get a lot of cases where Ohioans are getting large checks in the mail, maybe double the price of the item they actually have advertised. Don't get so excited. The check is more than likely counterfeit. There's a whole rash of counterfeit checks going around throughout the country of people trying to buy things off the web when in fact they're simply giving people fake checks and trying to either claim property that they shouldn't be able to claim, or they use it as an excuse for an Ohioan to either wire money or buy a prepaid money card. Lots of scams out there involving fake checks, fake cashier's checks, fake money orders, things like that.
Okay, I think you had something, and while you're talking, why don't we put up Ryan's contact information at the bottom of the screen?
Yeah. The website's easy. It's www.ohioattorneygeneral.gov, ohioattorneygeneral.gov, and our toll-free number is 800-282-0515. Again, that's 800-282-0515. And I'll tell you, the Ohio Attorney General's office has a lot of different departments and sections. That number is good for all of us, whether you want to report a scam, you have a consumer problem, you're a victim of violent crime and you want your compensation, charitable issues. Those are all developed through that toll-free help center.
Are there any other organizations that we could turn to for some more information, more technical stuff?
Certainly, there are a lot of good partners that we have. Stop, Think, Connect is one.
Okay.
It's a public awareness consortium where there's academic institutions, attorney general's offices, Homeland Security is a major partner of Stop, Think, Connect, and that website is just stopthinkconnect.org. There's also a website that is www.staysafeonline.org that has a lot of tips as well. And Stay Safe Online also has a list of some of those websites that'll scan your hard drive for malicious software, malware. So it's good if you're just starting out and you want to get some tips reiterated to you that you may have heard during this discussion. Go to the Ohio Attorney General's website, visit Stop, Think, Connect, visit Stay Safe Online, those types of organizations that have a legitimate purpose of helping out the general public.
And if you don't feel comfortable working on your computer, ask somebody that you trust.
Absolutely.
Everybody knows the geeks. Everybody,
and
we stand out like a sore thumb. And each of us I know have people that turn to us and say, hey, can you look at my computer? And if you have an older member of your family with a computer, when you stop over for Thanksgiving, go run a scan on it, check it for weird programs. You know, give your parents a helping hand.
Instead of tuning a piano, tune a computer.
Tune a computer, yes. Well, thank you very much for coming today. I know I've enjoyed it very much.
Thank you both. I appreciate the invitation.
Okay. So I'm not sure what we're doing next month, but we will be back next month on Tech Talk discussing more things about your digital life. Thanks for watching.
It's everywhere. It's the Internet of Things.